and she's back. Here I am, YouTube. It's been a while. I needed to take a second to just, you know, focus on other things, focus on other projects, and I did that. Okay, it's been a crazy last 3 months because we'll say that during quarantine, it came into my mind to do, you know, the Una Donna Che Conta series on YouTube, on Instagram, which is a short series about personal finance in Italian, obviously on Instagram. And it took off really quickly. Like, people really liked it, and it started blowing up pretty quickly. And then after that, there was the whole, you know, Black Lives Matter issue in the States, and that was a really traumatizing few weeks because it's not like I didn't know or see something like that coming, but, you know, it's just, it's hard, especially being a Black influencer during those times, because everybody expects something different out of you, and at the same time you're just trying to deal with your feelings and, you know, everything you're feeling. And if you compound that by the fact that you're supposed to be always on in front of these virtual crowds of people, playing therapist to some, playing informer, news broadcaster to others, playing the positive person to others, because, you know, you can't get too negative and get people in their feelings. So that was a really stressful few weeks, but weirdly enough, due to the fact that I've always talked about these things and due to the fact that I've always been very vocal about these issues, people were starting to find my profile and people were suggesting my profile as a profile of reference for these issues. So despite the fact that it was a really like rough time, it was also a time of a lot of for growth on my social media platforms. So that was really interesting. And then these last few weeks have been like just getting back into the swing of things, getting back in the swing of work, both online and offline, with a little bit of these new issues, you know, intertwined. My offline work right now, there are Black Lives Matter and what is happening in the world in general is playing a huge role in my offline work. So that's just the update. And I decided that I wanted to come back onto YouTube, specifically with vlogs, because I just want an outlet. I just want an outlet where I can freely talk about my long form thoughts, and YouTube started out for me as that. It started out as just like a kind of journal for my feelings and a kind of place where I could just spill everything out. And I feel like I need that again, especially because I have no contact with any, like, I can't find a therapist. So I can't find a therapist here, and I can't afford a therapist outside of Italy that might do virtual sessions. And I'm also very specific because I want a Black woman therapist, and that's just not, you know, happening. So for now, YouTube is my therapy. And today I actually wanted to talk to you guys about a topic that I said on Instagram I would talk about. Basically, I wanted to talk a bit about the fact that we as young people, in the West at least, we kind of need to wake up to the fact that we're not impotent. We have power, we have privilege. We need to recognize that power and that privilege and use it in constructive ways. I feel like one of the biggest privileges going forward in these next few years is going to be the privilege of mobility. If you have multiple passports and the funds to be able to move when shit hits the fan in certain places. And I mean, that's the extreme case, but also in the case of maybe, you know, you're just not feeling fulfilled in one place, you don't feel like your needs are getting met in one place, the power to be able to get up and leave is really something. And I mean, I discovered this power at a young age, and I feel like it really impacted the rest of my life, because truly, honestly, I grew up in my society, I grew up in my country, I did everything that society told me I was supposed to do, and then I get to a point, and despite the fact that I did everything that society told me to do, I realized that my country, that society, that place, it wasn't really serving me. Things weren't working out like they were supposed to. I didn't have access truly to affordable education, and for me as a person that's not rich, that was an issue. And I could have, you know, continued to do what society told me to do, which would be to, you know, take out the loans and go to the school and tie myself to that country for the rest of my life. But I made a decision that I didn't realize at the time, that I could leave, and I left. And I went someplace else that met my needs and met what I it met my needs. I really like Italy. Obviously, I'm still here. I've been able to accomplish a lot of stuff here. I like the community that I was able to create here, the life that I was able to create here. But in the back of my mind, I always have in my head that you know, the day this country stops serving my needs, the day that it can no longer, you know, provide me with what I need in exchange for, you know, the taxes I pay and what I contribute to society, that's the day that I leave. Okay guys, so sorry, this camera is dying and the memory card just got full as well, so I had to switch real quick, but let me just finish this thought. The power to leave and the power to have that choice to leave is profound, because I've always said to myself, the day that, you know, young Americans wake up and a significant amount of them decide to not go to college in the States, or just, you know, reject the what is the university system in the States, they'd have to change. They'd have to change, both for supply and demand reasons, but also just like, if nobody's gonna go to the schools and you have your population rejecting the system, that's how change happens, not sitting there and being complicit. And I think the same thing that is valid for Italy, maybe not in the university sense, but in the workplace sense. I feel like young people here have such a messed up, like, perception of reality. Society tells them that, you know, you have to focus on school until you're 26. No, you're not supposed to work and go to school. That's what society tells you here. You have to graduate with a 110 lode. That's what matters. And then you're supposed to do stages, so internships, plural, underpaid. That's totally normal, even because, you know, your parents are going to support you through that time. And then they get to like 28, 29, 30 with zero work experience and are surprised why they can't find jobs, meaningful jobs in Italy, or even abroad at this point, because you're 28 and you've never worked in your life. And I did this video of Una Donna Che Conta the other day about, you know, negotiating your salary, but also negotiating anything in life, like whether it be a fee for a service or the price of a house. You have to know your value and know when to walk away. And I feel like a lot of kids here don't know. Kids, we're not kids, we're young adults. I feel like a lot of young adults here don't know the value in having that European passport and having had access to 13 years of English in their schools and being able to walk away. Like, I get it, the situation is messed up here, people are underpaid here, but why would you accept the underpaid job? I know it's not easy, I know it's un po' brutto to say, but people make the sacrifice of leaving all the time. People put themselves in the uncomfortable position of leaving their countries and going someplace else for a better life all the time. My mom, she made the hard decision when she had me to send me to go live with my grandmother in Jamaica for the first few years of my life, because she couldn't provide me with the life that I needed in the States when she was a single mother. And so she had to, you know, have some time to be able to construct a foundation for me to come back to. So, you know, the first few years of my life I didn't grow up with my mom, and I'm sure that was a really hard decision for her, but you do what you have to do in life. Everybody has a hard life, and some of us are lucky enough to have certain privileges that, you know, everybody's privilege is different, and we just have to be objective and know how to use them and make them work for us. And, you know, just stop being so impotent, because we're not impotent. At this point in Italy, young people are needed now more than ever. We're the cheapest to hire. So long as there's the contratto apprendistato, we're the cheapest working resource in the country. And in addition to that, aside from the fact that we're cheap, we're actually in need. Now that Italy finally woke up and realized that smart working is a thing and the internet is a thing, it needs people that are flexible enough to know how to use computers. And, you know, people over the age of 40 tend not to know. So, you know, young people have never been in a more empowered position in Italy, or at least not in the last 20 years. And they just need to wake up and realize that. And I don't know, maybe I sound harsh, but that's really the way I see it. When people tell me and complain to me about how, you know, they can't find anything and it's not as easy as I say. First of all, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying that you have to be dedicated. And if it's really impossible, if it's really not working, why are you still here? Like, go. If there are two options, Either you do like they did in the 60s and you get out in the streets and you demand the change that you want, or you leave. Staying in the same position crying about it, I really don't see the point. And I mean, I'm saying this to you guys, but I'm saying it because I would do the same. When I was first looking for a job after university and I couldn't find one, I said to myself, if I don't find a job by this date, I'm going back home to my country. And then I found a job, a good job that was worth that gave me what I was worth. So, you know, that's just my TED talk, and thanks for coming. I feel like we just need to be more smelly, tutti. I actually have to hurry up and leave because I'm gonna go get my hair done by the hairdresser of a good friend of mine, so I can't mess up by being super late. But this was just to say, you know, we as young people in Italy, we are more powerful than we think. We need to use that power. We, as young people in the West, again, understand the power in that passport. And as a Jamaican would say, don't let these governments take you for Egypt, because it makes no sense. But I'm not really minding the light pink look. I don't know, maybe we're on to something. Well, I'm back, and what can I say? My hair is pink. It wasn't actually supposed to be pink, but what happens is, and you can even see it in the video where I dyed my hair myself, is apparently my hair is really porous and it really takes in the toner. And so whenever I do a toner, it always really takes the color and of the toner, and then I have to wait a few days before it fades, or like before I knew this was normal, I would even re-bleach my hair, which is not very healthy. But yeah, so honestly though, even though it's pink, I kind of like it. It's different, you know, but it's not like, it kind of complements my skin tone still. So, and I was getting kind of annoyed going around because there's apparently a lot of black people that have their head shaved and dyed blonde. And I don't know, everybody do what they want, but I like to be different.